So we have a massive week ahead of us, not only for crypto, but for traditional markets as well. And part of the reason why is going to be because we have a lot of high impact economic data, which is going to be coming out. As you can see over here, we have the core CPI data, which is coming out on Wednesday, and that's most likely going to move markets. It has been a very, very tricky environment to trade in. And part of the reason is because, of course, we have a new administration, which has just come into the US, of course, that being Trump. And he's obviously very trigger heavy on the tweets, right? So a lot of uncertainty within the markets. Remember, markets absolutely hate uncertainty, and a lot of these short-term traders will be de-risking into these types of environments. So expect volatility over the course of this week. CPI data will, of course, give us valuable information as to what we may see next at the next FOMC meeting, which is coming up in March. And also with this CPI, you can see over here the US Fed Chair Powell will be testifying. That's going to be 5 p.m. my time on Wednesday. So at least mark that off on your calendars as we do wait to see what comes next, right? So if we look over here at the stock market's fear and greed index, well, that's actually been sitting in fear for quite some time over there. And if you look at the stock market, well, the stock market, let's just go back onto this chart, has been uptrending, right? It has been uptrending. You got putting in high lows throughout, but you can see it is starting to round over, right? So eventually there will be some sort of a deeper correction, maybe something similar to what we saw over here back in August, where we had that big dip over there and we actually took out the prior high low, but nevertheless, this did hold and then you continued that uptrend over there. So that's your view of the stock market. For the most part, everything is looking good here. The broader trend is still towards the upside, higher highs and higher lows. So you will most likely see this continuing to resolve towards the upside. Remember why? Because the trend is your friend until the end of that trend, right? Tesla, however, is coming down. This is approaching our shorter term targets over here into that fair value gap on the weekly scale, and that would be lining up just around that $300 mark, right? You might dip a little bit lower into that, but I think that would actually present a really good long-term buy opportunity if you are somebody interested in Tesla. Remember, Tesla is much bigger than just a car company. They have their finger deep in the AI sector, right? So they have massive, at least intellectual property within that industry. And I think this could do super, super well long-term. So crypto fear and greed index, we know that this has been reading much higher than what the sentiment feels like. And I guess the reason why is because this ultimately, mostly considers Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin for the most part has been looking pretty good. It's just the altcoins getting smashed. But nevertheless, it came very, 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 very close into dipping into the fear zone, which would look similar to, of course, then the stock market, right? So still hovering around that neutral territory over there. Could you get another dip? Absolutely, it's possible. I think it's going to come down to what happens over here at that FOMC. That will either confirm that the low is in and you start to put in a high low and move up, or it's going to dip you down one more time and sweep some of the lows. At the end of the day, the funding rate is still very, very low, meaning that there is not much of a willingness for leverage longs to jump into the market. Same thing is true with these shorts, right? People are still a little bit cautious in terms of trying to short the market over here, which is why you're not seeing negative funding. We had short periods over here. We had one dip on the 2nd of September, and that pretty much came just after that yen cash carry trade unwind happened. And this is what you typically see. Sometimes it's just after the scary event that the market attempts to try and short the next bounce, and that's why the funding rate flips negative over there. So nevertheless, low funding has been the name of the game. So a little bit of hopium. There is a little bit of hopium in the very short term. This could be anywhere from the next 1 to 4 days. This is using the TD sequential 9 top count and 9 bottom count, depending on which chart you're looking at. But a 9 top has been seen, right? You can see over here marked by the red arrow towards the downside. So 9 consecutive candles, pretty much putting in higher closing prices throughout. And now on the daily time frame, you've hit that 9 top, and this is on the USDT market cap dominance. What's more important about that is that exact 9 top candle also wicked exactly into the 50% level, marking that inefficiency as officially filled, right? This was from the huge spike that we had on the USDT dominance over here. So you hit exactly through that 4.66%, marking the TD sequential 9 top. What that means is from now onwards, you could look for today and for the next 3 days after that, anywhere between 1 and 4 days, you're looking for a corrective move, right? So a bit of a pullback over here. And then we'll see, does that have the opportunity to start to flip the trends, right? The reason why is because as soon as we start to reclaim $100,000 on Bitcoin, that will start to change things, at least on the high time frames, which we'll look at in a moment, right? So if you do see any sort of a pullback over here on the USDT dominance, remember that translates into a bounce within the rest of the crypto market. When this comes down, the rest of the market goes up, right? So keep that in the back of your mind. If you look at the USD chart over here for Bitcoin, well, same thing, right? The pullback has been in play, but you've now put in a TD sequential 9 buy or bottom over there, which means you're looking for that 1 to 4 candle correction towards the upside, right? An upside move over here. And if you do start to get above this orange line, which is going to be where some of the breakdown happened on that big candle, that's where the initial move came down. Once you reclaim that, well, pretty much you have a higher chance of confirming this as a high low, and you'd be breaking structure. That is essentially the level to take out. That's the zone that bulls want to take out, not only from a price action standpoint, but it's also going to do things like turn your high time frame momentum oscillators back towards the upside, which will start to shift the sentiment very, very, very quickly, back into the greed zone, which is where you expect sentiment to be in a bull market, right? I know a lot of people actually think that the bull market is completely over, right? I guess that's a story for another day. We'll deal with all of this one step at a time. But as long as we're above this 21 exponential moving average in a nutshell, I would keep the bullish hopes alive, at least for Bitcoin. I understand Bitcoin and crypto obviously putting in two very different pictures. Bitcoin looks perfectly fine. Many of the altcoins are absolutely wrecked, right? Completely rinsed. So for Bitcoin, though, Bitcoin is holding up very, very well. $89,879 continues to remain the line in the sand and absolutely pivotal major support, right? So we'll follow along with that as time unfolds. We have this purple moving average, which is the 20 moving average on the 5-day time frame, which I essentially use to just gauge the high time frame trends to help me to not get chopped in and out of the market consistently over time. And this is also one of your bull market levels that you'll be looking at. As long as price continues to maintain above this, which it is rising towards the upside, everything is all good and well. And yes, you can de-risk a little bit of your positions when you start to chop about and lose these moving averages. And anything that comes back into there, at that point, you still remain about 50% long in the market until such time as you lose that 20 moving average, which is the purple one. And that also lines up, of course, with the bottom of the trading range over here, marked by the white line, right? So again, this would be based on closing candles that need to occur below this level. If it's a wick through, we've seen things like that before, right? You've seen things like that before over here, where you actually even spent a little bit of time below, and then as soon as you start to reclaim, you get the big moves up, right? Breakthrough, hold a couple of candles below, reclaim, and you full bull back again. So maybe we'll see another drop below there, but I think that those $85,000 targets are starting to disappear. And similar to what I showed over here also on the daily time frame, you also do have that CME futures gap, which is between $77,000 and $80,000. This is where the price gap towards the upside over the course of that bullish weekend that we had. So Friday, price action was trading below $78,000. So, the weekend was very bullish. And then we came back on the Monday, and basically you had the CME gap on the futures trading chart, right? So sometimes price pulls back into those areas like a magnet. That would probably be your worst case scenario, but I think that a lot of people will be baited into thinking price is going to come back there. But just like before, it probably won't, right? Just like we saw in these previous times, like back in August, everyone at that point in time was targeting down towards $35,000 to $40,000. Where did price go? $49,000. And you can look at each respective time before that. Here we were at $38,000. Everyone was targeting $25,000, and price rallied towards the upside. Over here, price was holding $25,000, and everyone was looking back towards a $20,000 retest. And you never got that, right? What we can also line up over here with regards to the TD sequential and possibly reclaiming some of those key levels, right? Let's quickly mark it off on the chart over here. So again, reclaiming these candles over here, which was the breakdown point above that $101,000 mark. If we do start to reclaim that, well, also getting above the yellow line will initially turn that RSI back towards the upside. So there it is. Here's your RSI. We have seen how it hovers temporarily underneath the 50% level. So the white line running horizontally across the screen. Again, just look back at the last period over here. You can see you temporarily lose that, test your high time frame moving averages, and then run it back, right? Not only that, but on Wednesday, we will be getting the next bullish moon. Now, I know people initially laughed about this, but now we've started to see the high success rates of how often it works, right? Bull moon, price goes up. Bear moon, price goes down. Bull moon comes on Wednesday. So again, reclaiming these key levels will be very, very significant if you can start to get above the breakdown points over here. With the combination of the bull moon, RSI trends back up, everything can quickly start to shift into a positive light. So this would be my expectation. Just giving it to you very, very simple, very quick. This is what I'm looking at. You can see the way these candles are forming over here. Bulls are no doubt on thin ice. The ice is getting thinner and thinner and thinner, and there are hairline cracks in that ice where it is very, very, very close to breaking down. But you have to give them the benefit of the doubt until such time as you get the confirmation of the breakdown. And at this current point in time, you've done all the things we expected, which is fill that 50% level over there based on the wick that came down. Same as the USDT dominance has filled the 50% on the upside over there. And you can see that there is defense over here. This is being defended, but they're fighting tooth and nail. They're absolutely really having a dogfight over here to defend this zone. So if you want to play it safe, I guess, your first safe zone would be getting above the previous month's mid-range, which simultaneously lines up with the manual mid-range that I've drawn in. Why is it a manual mid-range? Well, you can see I've marked this off as the range high. I've marked this off as the range low. And if you simply use your Fibonacci tool and you take it from the top of this line to the bottom, this is exactly where your 50% level lines up. And that's exactly where last month's mid level was, right? There's your previous month's high, previous month's low, previous month's mid. So first sign of safety is starting to reclaim that. It's 99,344, but I guess just round it up, make it the psychological $100,000 mark, start to hold above that. And then again, this would start to look like a possible at least higher low and maybe some sort of relief, right? This just brings more hopium to the market if you get above that. It's not that you're fully out of the woods yet. There's a lot of hard work that needs to be done by the bulls, right? And keep in mind, of course, that is going to be a significant level, which therefore means that as you push up into that, if you do reject, well, that's incredibly bearish, right? Because then you've got significant lower highs that are forming throughout, and then you can start to look to move back down towards the bottom of the range. But based on the fact that we have seen USDT dominance fill that 50% level, which is one of the criteria or the key things I was looking at. Plus, we have the bull moon that's coming up. I'm going to be backing the bulls over here, and I'm going to be looking for a move like this, reclaiming into next week, and then we'll reassess. I think they'll start to run it towards the top of the range high. And as I have outlined to the Whale Room Discord community earlier on this morning, once you do that, I think that's where the big question mark comes in. What happens next, right? That part, I don't know. We have to reevaluate as price comes into the zone. It could be that you reject, deviate this level, and then additional fear comes into the market and you run it all the way back down to the bottom of the range. Or alternatively, if you do hold, a significant amount of these candles above the top of the range level, then yes, maybe price is ready to continue to march on higher, right? We're actually running a poll right now. You can let me know in the comment section. Do you believe February, the end of February, Bitcoin price will close green or red? Will this be a bullish or bearish month, right? We're still early in the month. We're only on the 10th of February, right? We're only on the 10th of February. A lot of things can happen in the next 20 days, especially given the volatility, and a lot of the uncertainty has been driven, of course, by Trump and him being tweet trigger happy, right? So maybe, they'll start to settle down in terms of the trade wars and things like that. And by the end of the month, more optimism could come back into the market. Because when you look at the charts, well, essentially, this is the picture, right? This is the weekly time frame looking at total 3, which is a great chart to represent the altcoin sector. So it's looking at everything on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and subtracting the top 10 coins from that list. And what we can see over here, the Gaussian channel is still green. You had the big flush towards the downside. But if you focus on these support resistance levels, this was resistance failed at resistance failed, resistance, bear market, relief rally, tested that, and then you lead into the bear market. And what have you got now? Well, you're attempting to flip it into support, right? This is very similar to what Bitcoin was doing when it was struggling between $65,000 and $69,000, which are also the prior all-time highs, and it's attempting to flip it, right? It will take a little bit more time, but again, are you above or below the level? The answer is you're above the level, and therefore right now it looks more like support than resistance for now, right? For now. We'll continue to monitor this each and every day. Real optimism and greed will probably kick back into the market as soon as you get above this candle over here, which was not last week, but the previous week over there. If you get above that wick over there, at that point, you can say, you know, this does look like it was a major backtest into support. That's your high low. And at that point, you probably start to move up in somewhat of a parabolic fashion, right? So I'm trying to give you a little bit of hope, but we're trying to also remain objective at the same time. Look, many altcoins are very, very hurt. That is the truth, right? Some of them are in super strong downtrends. You know, you put in lower lows, you're probably going to get some sort of a relief rally that will bounce up to put in maybe a lower high. That's where you have to reevaluate. So we can't say for certain yet on the high time frames. We need to see when you get that relief rally, which always does come, even if it is transitioning into a bear market, you should still get that, right? So just a quick overview without the Gaussian channel and looking at total 1, 2, and 3 on this chart over here. Well, that's the picture, right? I mean, maybe it's not easy to see for the untrained eye, but if it's somebody like me and I'm looking at this, well, I can see you've had the breakout of the cup and handle formation. You've had a bit of a shakeout back testing towards the neckline. You can see if you look at total 2, well, this one's already tested the neckline, but it is closing above, right? So far, that's looking okay, right? The worst, therefore, may be over. The worst may be over for the altcoin sector in terms of the sell-off that you've had over here on total 3 or on total 2. Total 3 as well, same thing. You're still holding above the strong horizontals over there. And let's look at others. There's your others chart. So others is the one that's been significantly hurt. This one did not hold above the key level over here, which if you looked at total 2, for example, it has, right? This one is broken below that level. At least the downsloping trend line, which was initially broken out of, you would have wanted to see that hold the support. So when it comes to others, you know, you probably want to wait for a reclaim. Wait for a reclaim of the yellow box over here. Start to get above that zone, and then you can start to dabble in the you know, the altcoins that are far down the risk curve. If you wish to do so, right? We have the daily exchange volume, which is slowly starting to roll over. So at least one of the slightly more scary signs, but I am a little bit behind on the updates. Remember, this updates, I think, in US time. So in a couple of hours from now, unfortunately, not during the live show, I can never get the live data over there. There is a lot of trades, right? There is a lot of trades. If you're in whale room, remember, a lot of our traders are absolutely crushing it. Here you have Josh with his scalp short. So a lot of short trades on the table. If you do want to short the market, you know, make sure you jump into whale room. The traders are crushing it over there. We have Chris as well. So we have Josh, Chris, and Farouk, as well as myself. You know, I'm more interested in the super high time frame stuff, but and swing trading with a bigger portfolio. So I'm updating you with, you know, more than the info that I'm giving you on the shows over here. So if you do want, you know, to be kept up to date with exactly what's going on in the market, please make sure you jump into whale room. That is how you can take your trading to the next level. Now, let's continue. What about Bitcoin dominance, right? Bitcoin dominance could, it's not confirmed yet, but it could possibly, also additional hopium for you, it could possibly be putting in some bearish divergence. You can see the RSI putting in possibly lower highs. We don't have the confirmation yet, right? You have to wait a little bit longer for some more weekly closes. Plus, you have a shooting star candle on the weekly time frame, which you can see, you know, usually have an existing uptrend. Once you get that shooting star candle, that could be a sign of reversal with the bearish divergence. And this is what I'm talking about. This is how quickly the narrative can start to shift, right? If this does start to break down, and again, that's a big if, we don't have any signs of that yet. If it does break down, USDT dominance breaks down, TD sequential leads into a bounce in the crypto market, BTC starts to reclaim around that $100,000 mark, you could very quickly start to see, you know, momentum coming back into the market. So we'll keep an eye on this, because unlike the USDT dominance, which we wanted to see test that 50% of the wick, which it has, we wanted to see the same thing happen on the Bitcoin dominance chart as did with the USDT dominance, and we haven't yet hit it, right? So there could be one more spike up, right? And that's where I really want to evaluate what happens next, right? Do we get the spike up? Do we test that 50% of the wick? And then do we start to reject, right, on the Bitcoin dominance? Now, if you do play that out, this is going to be your earliest signal on the daily time frame. Testing and rejecting from the zone for the Bitcoin dominance is the earliest sign that maybe, just maybe, this shooting star candle on the weekly time frame can be taken seriously with the bearish divergence, right? I don't think there's many people that are focusing on this because people don't even want to look at this. They don't want to know anything about altcoins, understandably. So food for thought. I mean, bookmark it, have a look at that in a couple of weeks' time. It won't play out in one day, right? It's going to take a few weeks, probably into, at a best guess, end of February, beginning of March. That's probably where you'd expect that to start to play off, right? So also, if you look at the ETH BTC chart, well, if we focus at all these historical levels, this was your major support, resistance over here, flipped into major support, and then obviously it led into that 2021 rally where ETH BTC outperformed everything, and then you kind of just put in these lower lows and lower highs, and look, it hasn't reversed yet, but what I always say is that time reinforces a level. You've now come back into that, and it's been almost 1,500 days, right? 1,498 days since you last tested this level, right? Time reinforces at least a chart, right? So the more time that it takes, like if you've spent a long time away from a certain level and then you eventually come back to test it, at minimum, it would lead to a bounce, right? Minimum, it would lead to a bounce. So you can reevaluate following that bounce. That should be the expectation. If this was a 5-minute chart, your expectation would be that if it was 1,500 candles on the 5-minute time frame chart, that when you hit this level, at minimum, you should get a reaction towards the upside, right? So if you do get this reaction towards the upside and it does end up breaking structures, well, that will start to look good. Now, the only reason that I bring this up is because not only do you have the shooting star on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin dominance, but you have the possible bearish divergence that's on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin dominance. You have the TD sequential 9 top on the USDT dominance, which means when that one comes down, everything else goes up. Plus, on top of that, you have many TD sequential 9 buys on a lot of the altcoin charts with hidden bullish divergences, right? Not regular bullish divergence, but hidden bullish divergence, which most people won't see, right? It's hidden bullish divergence. It's not as obvious as normal bullish divergence. So I think a lot of people will be sidelined when it comes to something like this. So that is your hopium for today. If you do want to trade, we're not done yet, but if you do want to trade any of these assets and you want to claim a sign-up bonus on a non-KYC exchange, check out 𝗬𝗥𝗚. There's a link in the description below. You can get up to 30,000 USDT in sign-up bonuses by completing various different tasks over here. And on top of that, there is a trading competition. So if you go to that trading competition, you don't necessarily have to actively trade it because it works more on a broader basis. If the entire crypto banter community reach $2 billion in volume, which believe me, it's not that hard, then ultimately, you can win 10 ETH from that, right? So use the link in the description below, go and check that out. Now, keep in mind what I've just said. I said there is hidden bullish divergences on the daily timeframes for a lot of the different altcoins. You have the TD sequential 9 buy, which means trend exhaustion and possible relief for 1 to 4 candles, also on the daily time frame, plus these various different factors. Now, if you line that up with, of course, weekly timeframes like this, well, stochastic RSIs at that point, if the hidden bullish divergences play out, if the TD sequential 9 buys play out for 1 to 4 candle correction, that could just be enough to start to turn some of these stochastic RSIs towards the upside, right? So we are holding the golden pocket over here on 𝗬𝗎, for example, right? So there's the 𝗬𝗎 chart. If we look over here at 𝗬𝗎 with the TD sequential, well, ultimately there it is, right? You got the 9 buy. That's why I say not always will you get follow through. Sometimes it can fail, just like any other charting technique. It can sometimes fail, but if you focus on this over here, well, if you look at the 50% level, very, very close, right? You almost hit the 50% of that wick. That's one of the strategies that I utilize. Now you got 7, 8, and you're on the 9th candle. Possible, exhaustion from that point in time. And then let's actually look over here. And 𝗬𝗎, I'm just giving you one example over here, but if we go into 𝗬𝗎, let's see if they have on the daily time frame any divergences over here. So you do have a bit of a bullish divergence. This is not a hidden bullish divergence, but a regular bullish divergence. Some of the other charts have hidden, right? So this was just a trade setup that we're looking at with the Whale School members on Friday when we're finishing that, at least that session. By the way, if you do want to join Whale School, once you sign up to 𝗬𝗥𝗚𝗧, that's your ticket in, right? So use the link in the description below and then sign up to 𝗬𝗥𝗚𝗧. go through to Whale School. The user ID that you use on 𝗬𝗥𝗢𝗓 is essentially your verification to get into the next Whale School. Okay, we can definitely do some chart requests. So drop your chart requests in the comment section over there, and I'll have a look at that. You know, a lot of the coins have reset in terms of that. If you look at Phantom, for example, look at Phantom stochastic RSI, all the way down there. It hasn't taken out that low, which is at least one good sign. Let's have a look at it over here. TD sequential 9 buy. Look at the range. If that 9 buy gets you back above the previous month's low, you know, that could possibly start to look like a little bit of a deviation, right? And then you got to contend with the yearly open, which lines up at the mid-range. That's going to be major support. But this is essentially the way that you're going to have to think about the market in the short term, is step by step, right? Let's go look at Phantom over here. Is there any, so you got actually quite a lot of bullish divergence, definitely oversold over here, blue buy signals across the board using the momentum oscillator below. Okay. That's another example over there. What else have we got? What else have we got? I see some of you want to know about Goku. Goku came back down to the bottom of the trading range. So for those of you who had missed out, I guess that was a wonderful opportunity for you. Let's quickly pull the chart up over here. So there it is, right? Keeping it super simple. You hit the bottom of the trading range. This is what a lot of the coins will look like, right? I mean, these were pretty brutal drops. 78%, you know, with zero relief, and now you're starting to bounce over here. Look, watch the bounce in play. I think mid-range is going to be around 0.020. I'd love to see it get above that, and that's the top of your range high. So sitting at $14 million market cap. I don't think anyone in Whale Room's complaining because they got this at $1 million, right? So even now, you're still 14x up on this trade. And at one point, you were 30x up. I think even more. I think we dropped it at like 700,000 market cap in Whale Room. Okay, let's continue. What else have we got? Let me know in the comments, guys. I'll have a look. I'll have a look in the comment section, and we can pull some things up over there. I will have a look in relation to the TD sequential, where a lot of these charts are. Injective putting in quite a bounce. So again, TD9, right? Most of them across the board would have hit that TD9. And remember, TD9 doesn't necessarily mean to the moon, right? TD9 doesn't mean to the moon. It means for the next 1 to 4, which could be 1 or it could be up to 4, you're looking for relief, right? By the time you hit the 4th candle, you need to be careful that it's not a lower high with any of these coins, right? So it's a good opportunity to pay attention. This is why I said in the, at least the show thumbnail, you know, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. This could be an opportunity to rebalance your portfolio off of this next bounce, you know, fix things that you made big mistakes on in the past. Okay, quickly looking at, okay, let's check out Casper. Also TD9 over here, but on the higher time frames, I mean, Casper has definitely been a little bit hurt, right? We can have a look at Casper over here. So there it is. Let's just quickly zoom out over there. So Casper lost the range low, and now it's consolidating underneath that range low. That's not really what you want to see. So you probably want to see this reclaim as quick as possible. The one good thing that I could say, if I had to really clutch at straws over here and try to find anything good that I could say, it would be I think you've swept that level, right? So that a lot of stop losses were probably placed underneath that move. There we go. And you have swept that. That wick down would have taken so many people out. And now it's got some work to do to reclaim some of these key levels. Okay, let's have a look maybe on the weekly timeframes for some of these other coins that you guys are asking about. So you asked 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬, well, we'll have a look at the meme coin sector quickly. This is I wouldn't say it's necessarily been any harder hit than the rest. It's probably more or less the same. So stochastic RSI is resetting, coming directly into support. Let's line it up over here with the TD sequential. I would imagine across the board, you're on those 9 buys. So let's just see. Okay, there we go. 7, 8 candles. You know, close enough. You haven't printed, you know, the little at least green tick over there for the 9 buy yet, but very, very, very close. It's going to probably do whatever the rest of the market does. Let's go to Brett. Brett was the other one that there was a question on. So there it is. The Brett looking worse off than 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗓, right? So for example, where 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 actually managed to hold this level, Brett just went straight through, which is bad. Very, very, very bad, right? So what you want to see on Brett is you definitely want to start to see the deviation and reclaim of the trading range. At that point, you know, you can say that, you know, maybe this was just an overextended deviation, reclaim the trading range, and then we can start to relook this and see where things go next. At the end of the day, remember, again, as I've mentioned, a lot of these coins will have pretty enormous relief rallies, right? So let's just quickly look at some of these fib levels. So there it is. a lot of these coins will rally, into the 0.382 level, which for Brett would mean this is your price move percentage that you could be looking at least, right? 152%. That's pretty sizable moves, right? And then if it starts to reject from those key zones, then you say, okay, this thing's wrecked. It's over. Okay. Let's see. 𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗓. Sure. Let's have a look at 𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗓. 𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗓. Let's look at it on the weekly scale first. 𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗓. That is. Okay, also pretty obliterated. Same thing as Brett, right? I said reclaim. You need to reclaim. That's it. You need to get back above, as per the law drawing over here. If you can start to get back above, I would say about, to be safe, $16, which, yes, I know that's a lot higher. That's like double the price, but that's kind of what you need to see. You need to see the reclaim of that to suggest that 𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗓 is maintaining this key support. This was a range level. It's lost it now, but it could be a shakeout. It could be a deviation. Reclaim that, and then things will start to look okay again. Okay, let's check out Ondo as well on the weekly scale. Ondo USDT. Let's see over here. Okay, this one's got a lot of relative strength based on that wick over there. But, safety starts to come back into play if you get above $1.55. $1.55, and then you can say high probability, the lows in over there for Ondo, and then it's going to be continuation. Let's quickly check out also Mantra, which is part of the real world asset sector. If that's what Ondo looks like, what does Mantra look like? Powerful, very, very strong, still running. I wouldn't try short this yet. I know a lot of people are already planning their shorts on this trade, but I would wait for full reversal of this, break down some key levels, put in a lower high, and then you can start to reverse this. Okay, AI16Z, we probably have to look at it on the daily time frame because I don't think that there will be enough price history for that one. So let's quickly have a look at AI16Z. It is starting to get its bit of a run. It did put in the TD9 already over there, and it went straight through it. So this is what I'm talking about. It's not a guarantee just because you put in a TD9. No guarantee, right? But if you were to trade it, the way a person would trade it is once you put the TD9 in, like for example, you put it in over here, once you close that candle, therefore you could start to look for a long trade. This is hindsight trading, but I'm just going to show you once the candle closes, on the next candle, you open up the long trade, stop loss goes below, and then you can start to target anywhere between 1 and 4 candles. What did this get? 1, 2 candles, and then it started to turn back down, right? So anyway, AI16Z also absolutely smashed. What did this one go down? 89%. Absolutely brutal. If it can start to get back above 63 cents, 63 cents, I would say is the main level to reclaim. So give it a bit of time, right? Definitely with these things, give it a bit of time. What you don't want to be doing is like if you exited the market at the bottom, now jumping back in and trying to chase price back towards the upside. That's something that I wouldn't do. Okay. Let's see. Quickly, let's go to, I'll go on this chart over here. Is it this one or is it this one over here? Okay, let's go on here. Let's go up to hype. There was a question around hype and just drop it onto a lower time frame. So there it is. For hype, pretty much this was a very, very bad wick that came in over here. I've dropped it in the Wellroom Discord on longs. I think I must stop somewhere just underneath these wicks over here. Now you really want to see this thing getting moving. Look, if you can start to close candles over here on the 4-hour time frame above $24.30, then chances are that you're putting in a high low while simultaneously holding the mid range, and then you can start to target up towards the top of the range high over here, and then reevaluate. Right? Don't expect that it's just going to magically break through the top of the range high. You need multiple closing candles above 28, but that's your trading range. That's your trading range for hype. All right, cool. Let's see. WIF. Yeah, let's have a look at WIF. WIF also absolutely obliterated. Let's see on the weekly first, and then we'll go on to the dailies. So that is smashed, right? So unlike 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓, for example, again, at least 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 was able to hold its range lows straight through the range low. Again, you will get some form of a relief rally. So if you once you confirm the low, expect that at least a move up to the 382 on these things, which would be in this instance, it's big percentages, right? 206%. Could be a dead cat bounce of 206%, and then you can take it from there. Let's go into the daily for WIF. USDT. All right, WIF. There we have it. So yeah, not looking good. It put in overextended moves, TD sequentials. Okay, I'm on the 4 hour. Let's just jump on the daily. But it has put in a couple. Look, TD sequential 9 buy. You got your 1 to 4 candles. You got 1 candle up and then straight rejection. So this thing is getting slaughtered, right? Absolutely slaughtered. A lot of work to do. Again, target the 0.382 on the dead cat bounce and then reevaluate. That's probably where you'd want to exit. And then, if it breaks through that, then you can start to look for another opportunity to get in later. Okay. Popcat. Yeah, let's have a look at Popcat. Another one that got absolutely killed. Let's go Popcat USDT. So first we'll have a look at it on the weekly. There it is. I mean, this one, at this point, let's clean this up a bit. At this point, this one, you can see over here, by the way, as well. As soon as you broke this trend line, backtest into that zone as resistance and then just straight mark down. With the current price history that we have, this is major support. Like that is the level, right? That's the level that you'd want to see holding. So if it is going to move, this is kind of the zone where you want to see it move from. Let's go to Popcat over here. All we have to work with is the prior candlestick history, right? We have nothing above that. So I think that this is MEXI usually has the most price history. TD sequential 9 buy. Yeah, a lot of work to do. Where do things start to change for this? You have to get above the previous month's mid-range at least 64-65 cents, which is a long way from here. That is 64 to 65 on Popcat. Would take you 124%. And then the next level is 155 from current price. Okay. What else? What else, guys? We have done 𝗬𝗢𝗡. I see you guys are asking for 𝗬𝗢𝗡. We did 𝗬𝗢𝗡 already. Let me have a scroll through over here, just see if there's, okay, SPX. Some of you want SPX. Let's go on the daily. SPX 69. Okay, let's just pull that up. Okay, let's see. So also, we don't have too much to work with. I know that there is more price history that's way below. Maybe I should just showcase it on this chart over here because we have the most history on this chart. And let's check that out. Okay, so sitting at a $600 million market cap. If you think that SPX 6900 is going to flip the stock market, it's probably a good buy now. But if you think SPX 6900 will flip the stock market, I think you also need to check your head. That is insanity. But nevertheless, chart-wise, the ultimate range low is going to be at 48 cents. 48 cents. That's the zone, right? Cool. Also, guys, I just want to remind you very, very quickly, if you're new to crypto and you've never been in this space before, scamming is a big thing in crypto, right? People will scam you. They will pretend to be somebody else, someone that you watch on YouTube or follow on X, maybe you're in a Discord group. I will never, ever, ever reach out to you, right? I'll never reach out to you to trade some sort of a secret trading fund. It's a very easy, simple process. It's a one-step process to never get scammed. One step. Don't send your money to anyone. The end. That is it. That is the one-step process. If you want additional areas of security, I can also recommend, use a ledger, use a 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗏, whatever it may be. Get a VPN. You can see I keep my VPN on pretty much at all times. I'm connected right now. That way, if you're worried about hacks and things like that, that will assist you. There's a link in the description below for NordVPN. They are giving you I think it's about 78% off. So use the link over there. And then also remember, 𝗬𝗥𝗬𝗕𝗓, sign up over there if you do want to jump into the next whale school session, which is completely free. And then also below, if you want to jump into Whale Room, our traders are there to guide you. And so am I. I'm also there. Cool. Let's see what else, guys. Let's take a couple more. Let's look at 𝗓𝗓. Yes, we should look at 𝗓𝗓. Let's look at 𝗓𝗓. Is 𝗓𝗓 ever going to catch a bounce like 𝗬𝗓 did? Say it's lost the bottom of the range low, right? So not really what you want to see. Theoretically, by this structure, this is putting in lower lows and lower highs on a high time frame. So of course you have the highs, you have the lows, lower high, and now you officially have closing basis, lower lows. But it is oversold. Definitely could catch a bounce over here, and then you can reevaluate. Things possibly start to change if you get above 34 cents, right? Then maybe this was the biggest bear trap ever, shaking people out of their positions. But until then, we can't say for certain. Okay, let's have a look at checks. Yes, I see one or two of you want checks, which is a real world asset play. Pretty solid project as well. I think they did somewhat manage to hold up, right? So that's your weekly scale. You got pretty brutal wicks over here. Maybe we should have a look at it on the daily though, just to see how this looks on the daily if you have those same wicks over there. And you kind of do. Okay, so what I would be looking at over here on checks, straight invalidation would be this candle low. That's all that you have to work with because the rest is just major chop, right? So previous month's low, expect it will trade like a range, which means expect that it could very well come back down to 29 cents. And then you can reevaluate if it holds that and you want this project or you want to purchase any of these tokens, that's probably going to be the best place to do it with a hard stop below. But in terms of other structure, it is putting in lower highs now, but still putting in high lows. So it has some hope over here. That is checks. All right. Cool. That's it from me, folks. Let's leave it over there. I'll catch you all on the next one. I hope you have an absolutely rock solid day. It's a big week, a very big week. Stay strong. Pay attention to the 1 to 4 candle correction. And I will see the rest of you in Whale Room later. Have a great day and cheers for now.